talked obviously about the bounce back win last weekend. You guys get the full week of training, but then a long trip out to Oakland. What's the focus been on, and how's the group doing right now?
Yeah, I think continuing to build on some of the areas that we've wanted to improve on over the last few weeks. It's been a good start to the week for sure. We're looking forward to getting back on the field today, and working a little bit tactically. It's a difficult opponent in Oakland for sure. They're on a good run as well. But again, as I've said before, whether we're traveling across the country or playing here at home, we still have an expectation of ourselves to put in a performance that we can be proud of, and that'll be the goal this weekend.
Yeah, within third on the table. I mean, you don't normally think about Oakland as being a huge contender on the West, but they've become one. What are they doing this year that has allowed them to get up there?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of belief in the group for sure. You can see on film, it's a hardworking team, especially when they're there at home. They have a good environment, and then tactically they've made a few changes, over the last 6, 7 games that I think have been really beneficial for them. So we're looking forward to the challenge. It will be a challenge, but it's one that I genuinely believe that our guys are up for, and they're looking forward to again building on the momentum from the Birmingham game.
I, if I recall correctly, last time we played Oakland, it was kind of a spicy match. Do you guys talk about any sort of the, I guess, non-tactical elements of things? The gamesmanship or the increased tempers or anything like that?
Yeah, I think we have an expectation, of ourselves of how we want this game to go and how we want to play. We understand anytime that you're on the road, the bare minimum is making sure that you're a difficult team to play against. They are certainly a difficult team to play against. So similar to what you talked about, I'm sure it'll be a little bit of a clash, but at the same time, the group has played in environments like that this year already. And this is a game certainly that they're excited for against a difficult opponent.
Rolling off that, just obviously able to bounce back in a really big way against Birmingham.
Yeah.
Obviously does great things for morale kind of going into a week like this, but what have you noticed maybe in these last couple of days, just maybe a little bit more pep into the step of these guys?
Yeah, I think one of the big takeaways for the group was the overall performance in the second half, and I thought in the first half, they did a good job of defending our service. They did a good job of defending the box, which made it a little bit difficult. And we got hit a little bit in transition, but we came together, as I said, at halftime. And I thought the second half, I think was brilliant. And from a momentum standpoint, I think to be able to get a win like that on the road is really good from a confidence perspective. Obviously, you've seen it done at home this year. But I think that becomes really important where, we've gone through the test of having to grind out a match, maybe where we're not playing at the level that we expect of ourselves. But to be able to do it in the way that we did on the road, I think, as I said, I think it builds a good amount of confidence, certainly going into a game where we got to go across the country, another difficult environment with a surface that's different than ours, that most of my group hasn't played on. But as we say all the time in the video room, there's no excuses. Both teams have to play on it, and we got to be ready to go.
You kind of look back again, not to look too far back to that Rhode Island game
Yeah.
that you guys had. It's a tough loss. It's probably one of the worst that you guys had all year, but
Yeah.
is it reassuring to know that when you have losses like that, you can have immediate bounce backs like you did?
Yeah, I think you can tell that the character that we have with the group and our ability to respond after a result like that, especially being at home, shows how close the group is with one another. Number one, and number two, the belief that they have in one another. So I took the loss against Rhode Island. It was a unique game, a game that I didn't feel we were outplayed. I certainly didn't feel it was a 5-2 game. But it's also a game where I made decisions that I knew could end the way that it did. So you don't look at the players and blame them. You have to take responsibility as a manager for sure. But the response against Birmingham was excellent. And I think, we talk a lot in the locker room about making sure that you're resilient. One of our non-negotiables is being resilient in the journey, because this football and the season, there's so many ups and downs. And I think the group certainly showed against Birmingham a good amount of resilience.
A little bit more about where you guys are going this week. Again, unique surface, kind of like you mentioned. Funny enough, Rhode Island was probably like another one of those road matches that you have where it was a little different type of area to play at. What's different about this one, and what's it going to be like kind of entering, maybe not the unknown, but like something different?
Yeah, I think it is unknown for some of us. I've never been there, so I don't know what it's going to be like. But I do know this. I do know that we focus on our process, on us. We've shown an ability to win in different ways. You know, if it's a fight, then we'll fight. If it's a game where we can play the football that we want to play, then that's what we're going to do. Some of that is more difficult to do or to know prior to getting there. But we'll certainly have the group set up in a way that we're able to do both, no matter what the game's going to call for. You know, I'm a firm believer in the quality that we have, and that making sure, as I say pretty much every single day, that if our mentality is right on the road, and we are difficult to break down, then we're going to put ourselves in a good position.
He's a guy that, has been a part of this team already all year, but to see a guy like Sam maybe step up these past couple of weeks, I've seen him bigger moments. What's it been like seeing him kind of have some better stretches?
Yeah.
Better down the stretch.
Yeah, this is a player that culturally is a perfect fit for our locker room. He's a team first guy, whether he's starting, whether he's coming off the bench, he's going to give the group everything that he has. And when I look at the things that he brings on the field, his movement is excellent. He's putting himself in good positions, creating good opportunities for himself and for others. But I go back to the fact that this is a guy that is a perfect fit to the culture. It's somebody that wants the players that are starting to do well. He's not hoping that they don't, so that he can get a chance. And you can see when injuries happen, or obviously his good performances come, he's rewarded and he's been prepared for it.
You guys are still pretty far up on the table right now, but you guys now know what can happen when you get a little too comfortable up there. Is it different now entering this week, knowing that you guys still have that big lead kind of that you already had entering the Rhode Island game, but knowing now it's like, hey, this can go away pretty quick?
Yeah, I think it's a fair question, but this group, in the way I want us looking at it, is that we're competing against ourselves to make sure that we're pushing ourselves every day to be the best. And whether we're 2 points up, 5 points up, 5 points down, that's irrelevant, because we have to continue to focus on our process and make sure that we're looking to improve every day. And I think consistently from day one in preseason to where we are now, we have a group that's tried to do that. And when you do that, you hopefully see the results come together.
Kind of this Birmingham match kind of got me thinking big picture, and it really feels like this season has been kind of the culmination of the vision you've been trying to build over the past couple of seasons. I know it takes a vision, or like it takes a village, but like personally, has it been pretty satisfying to see the team come together the way it has? I know there's still more to go, but in terms of how they're playing on the field.
Yeah, I think up to this point, to your point about it taking a village, when you get to 17 games into the season, you haven't won anything, and that's what we want to do here. At the same time, when we evaluate on a weekly basis of where we're at as a team, where do we need to be better? But I'm certainly proud culturally of where the group is at the moment. But that is a village, that is my staff, that is James, that is my trainers, my equipment manager. That's everybody constantly buying into that message, and the players obviously the same. So I'm proud of where we're at the moment, but I'm certainly not satisfied or under any notion that the season is over and everything is just gonna be given to us. We're gonna have to continue to do the things that we've done up to this point and more, to make sure we are where we want to be at the end of the season.
One of those guys that's a big part of that village culture. I see Brian over there.
Yeah.
Brian, how's he doing?
Yeah, he's doing a great job. He's building every single day. He is working harder probably than anybody I've ever seen from a rehabilitation standpoint. And he's a guy that I don't think you ever want to count out. So what's most important to me is he's back on the field for his mind, and he's able to jog around. When I say on the field, to be clear, jogging around and warming up, and he's nowhere near returning at the moment, but for his own mind and for the group to be able to see him, and I'm really proud of where he's at, and my hope is that he can continue to progress. And I think our training staff and our doctors and the physical therapists have all done an amazing job with him up to this point, and our hope is that we keep progressing.
As a head coach, even though knowing that return may be far away, is it good to know that you kind of maybe have an ace in your back pocket with a guy like that?
I think what we're trying to do at the moment is, for him specifically, is he's done a really good job of he can't lead by playing, but he's leading in the video room. He's talking tactically with individual players. He's talking in the video room when we're doing a team analysis. He is completely 100% as bought in as he can be given the current circumstances. So, you know, for him, I think that's important as well, so he can stay engaged. And should the time come, hopefully those things helped him prepare.
Is there optimism that he might see the pitch this season? I know it's still early, but
Yeah,
I don't know how you guys are feeling.
I'm not gonna put something out there that I'm optimistic that he's gonna continue to progress, and I hope that it gets to that point, but there's no pressure on him whatsoever. It's more about making sure that that he is in the best place as he possibly can come that moment.
Everyone else healthy during this weekend, except for you.
We had a pretty tough injury against Birmingham, and all I'll say at this point, and we'll put something out, but we're still going through a few things with the doctors, but Jorge's definitely going to be out for a good amount of time. So, but we'll get that out to you once we're 100% finalized on what that's going to look like, and continue to have some discussions with Jorge. I'm hoping for nothing but the best from him, for him. It was a scary moment for a player that was doing everything he could to score a goal, but that shows his mentality and it shows kind of who he is. So my fingers are crossed, and we'll let you guys know once we have a exacts on that.